Hey everybody, Mr. Rupp here, back with part 2 of the 3-part tutorial on how to use Kami. So now that we have Kami as one of our Chrome extensions, and now that you know how to open an assignment using Kami, let's talk about what Kami does. All it does is it allows you to annotate or write or type on top of a PDF. So in the classroom, you would normally be writing on an actual piece of paper, but for remote learning, you have to do it digitally, and Kami allows you to write on a PDF digitally. There are a lot of tools that you can use. The two main tools we're going to talk about are going to be the text box and the drawing tool. And so let's talk about the text box first. This is probably going to be the most useful tool that you use and by far the easiest. So if you want to answer a question, you would click text box. You would choose your font size. You might have to play around with that to get the right font size so that your answer fits. We'll talk about that in a second. And then you can choose the color that you want to type in. I usually ask my students to choose something besides black because it makes it easier for me to see their answers on the page and distinguish them from the questions. So we'll choose blue. And when you're ready to put down an answer, just anywhere you want to on the page, and using your touch screens, you'll just tap the page where you want to start the answer, or if you use a mouse, point and click. And it'll create a little text box. And you can type out your answer, and there you go. And if you want to get rid of this little box around there, click anywhere else on the page, it goes away. If you need to edit it, you can hover right back over it, click on it. You can select the text and change colors. You can change the font size. Or you can click and drag it around the page. So if you happen to put your answer somewhere that it ought not be, you can always drag it back down to where it needs to be. Okay, so there's your answer 1, and it's just that easy every time. Point and click, type your answer, click off of it, there you go. Now the other tool, the drawing tool, is a little less useful for answering long questions or questions that need complete answers because it is a little hard to write legibly, especially if you're using your finger on a touchscreen. It can sometimes be really hard to read those answers or to write small enough that your entire answer can fit on the page. If you do have a stylus or a pen tablet, it's a little easier. I'm currently using a pen tablet, so if I wanted to write out an answer, once you've selected the drawing tool, you literally draw on the page. So there's answer number 1. And you can see it's legible, but it's still a little bit shaky, and I have a pretty good stylus. So for longer answers, I recommend the text box. And the drawing tool is a lot more useful for things like multiple choice questions. If you're circling an answer, that's super easy. Just go ahead and circle the answer. No problem. But for writing out longer answers, a lot less useful. Now, if you've circled an answer and you need to get rid of that, simply go to the eraser, and you can just drag the eraser over that. It'll delete the whole thing. Or you can also hit undo at the top, or hold down Control and hit Z, and that will also undo. So that's how you can get rid of those answers. So the drawing tool, circling answers, it's a great tool for that. It's also a great tool if you needed to match certain answers across the page. Very good tool for that. Things that you cannot do with the text box. But yeah, that's it. So for answering questions in a PDF in Kami, just use the text box or use drawing. And then in part 3, I'll tell you what to do with it once you're done, how to turn it into your teacher.